it's Holly Marie King, and I'm here to share The Confusing Kidnap, Chapter 1, which is the rough draft of Not a Dream. The Confusing Kidnap. Chapter 1, The Kidnap. Helen walked to the bathroom quickly. She always waited till later to go to the bathroom, but she had to pee really bad. On her way, she noticed her boyfriend talking to her best friend. She could tell something was different, but it was just like any other day. The two spoke all the time. Why should it bother her? Smiling and stepping towards them, her eyes caught sight of something heartbreaking. Her hand in mid-wave and her mouth opened up and about to say hi, she saw her boyfriend lean in and kiss her best friend. Oh no. Eyes growing wide, she stood there, unable to move or make a sound. The bell rang. Her friend and boyfriend turned to go to the next class, spotting Helen standing there. Both of their eyes grew wide. Helen! Helen's best friend gasped. At the voice, Helen turned and ran, tears running down her face. Helen, wait! Her boyfriend yelled after her. She ran, not watching where she was going. Soon, a huge force hit her, knocking her unconscious. Which, actually, she got hit by, like, an arm or something. It doesn't ever explain it. She woke up groaning. Sitting up, she rubbed her eyes, wondering where she was. The wrong that had been done to her flashed before her eyes. Putting her arms around her knees, she stared at the blankets. Tears splashed down onto the sheets. Her vision was blurry. Wiping at the tears, she got out of the bed. A white lace nightgown tumbled to the floor. Helen didn't notice. She was just walking out of the room. She heard voices, so she walked near them. Why did you bring a human into this house? A man's voice demanded. Well, it's about damn time another human came around here. Besides me and that crazy girl, came a second man's voice. His voice sounded rough. Oh, calm down, Troy. I brought her here because she seemed to be what we're looking for. A melodic voice chimed in. I wonder what they're talking about, Helen muttered. She shrugged and turned around. Gasping, she came face to face with a bear with a big red dot on his chest. You know, kind of like the Pokemon. I think his name is Osering. It's the evolved form of Teddy Ursa, the big red circle on his tummy. Yeah, that's what that is reference from. Ah! She screamed, running in any direction besides the bear as was in, who had made a noise and started to do the same thing as Helen. What's going on? A man with horns demanded, coming out of a room. He was wearing glasses that ran down his face in his hurry. Would you all just shut it? I'm trying to sleep, came the snarl from a man in a nightcap and gown. Yeah. Helen screamed when he came out of his room. Almost crashing into him, she ran away from him and went in a different direction. A door opened and 3 men stepped outside. Helen accidentally ran into a man with blonde hair and blue eyes. Hello, what's this? Chimed the melodic voice Helen had heard before. Tears rolled down her cheek, and she fainted right then and there. She woke up hearing voices. Quiet, guys, she's coming too. The door slammed open. Okay, who took my bed this time? I do realize you all like how comfy it is, but get your own. It was another man, and he seemed very angry. How many people live in this house? Helen said, overwhelmed. The man with white wings sighed. This is all of us. My name is Damien. The one with horns is Eric. Greg is the one who had been a bear. The human is Alan. That person over there is Troy. Mr. Sleepyhead is Brian. And Mr. Sunshine himself is Francis, he said. Helen nodded. She looked around the room at all the men surrounding the bed, and then she realized what the man named Francis had said. Is this Francis's bed? She asked. Why didn't they just bring her back to the bed that she was in before? To introduce Francis. That's right. Yeah, but don't you have any questions? Damien asked. I do, but I can figure those out on my own. Although it'd be nice to know where my room is, Helen answered. I'll take her, Troy said. No, I don't think that's a good idea, Alan said. I'll take her, both Alan and Damien said at the same time. No, I'll take her, they both yelled at each other. They soon began to wrestle. Don't judge my spelling. This is a rough draft. Greg sighed. Come on, let's go. I'll take you to your room, Helen, he said. Helen got out of the bed and walked wearily over to him. Before the door, Greg stopped and turned to Francis. They'll stop fighting in a few minutes. It was Helen's turn to sigh. Thank you. I'm sorry I screamed at you. I thought you were going to maul me or something, she said. That's okay. I guess I should have paid attention to what I was doing. The two laughed. But then Greg became serious. Listen, you should watch out for Damien and Alan. They're both perverts, and they may take advantage of you. Oh, no. Oh, that's why. But then why couldn't Troy take me? Well, one reason is he's a vampire. What? No way. Are there any other humans here besides me? Well, there's Alan, and then there's Kat. You shouldn't go near them. Kat is stuck here because she chased after a werewolf. Oh, she hunts werewolves for a living. Then Alan is a vampire hunter. However, he's a very lazy hunter. So I have to watch out for Troy because he's a vampire, right? Plus, he doesn't say much. And besides, he's lived with us for years and we barely know him. He just has danger written all over him. Because that's the thing. The two walked to a room. Who lived here before you? The room had a bed with a lace canopy on top and beautiful white sheets. The room had obviously been owned by a girl. Troy has always lived here. Greg turned to leave. If you need any help, just holler. One more thing. Actually, two. Greg turned around. Yes? How did I end up in these clothes? Greg blinked. I think that was Eric, but don't worry. My bet is it was a spell he used to change your clothes. Helen gave a sigh of relief. My second question is, do I have any other clothes? Yes, it's in the dresser in there. Greg pointed at it. Now, get some sleep. Don't worry, I'll stay up till everyone is in bed so that I can make sure nobody will bother you. As Greg closed the door, Helen rushed over and locked it. That won't keep all of them out, you know, came a voice Helen had heard before. Who's there? Helen turned to see an outlined shadow of a person by her window. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. What do you want? Nothing. I just thought I might warn you that locking your door won't work on keeping any of us out. Why not? Because most of us are magical beings, and the only two people you'll be able to keep out is Alan and Kat. And how do I keep myself safe? Helen felt tears roll out of her eyes. The person in her room was now right next to her. Don't worry. I'll watch over you. I promise. Now get some sleep. I promise I won't let anyone hurt you. Oh, I hate you, Troy. Helen felt sleepy, and she walked over to the bed. Before she closed her eyes and sleep, she decided to ask who was going to watch over her that night. Troy, is that you? She fell asleep before she got her answer. Alan! How many times have I told you to leave me alone? A roar startled Helen in the morning. Troy! She said when she woke up. The sun lit her room. She sighed. Of course you wouldn't be here. Well, let's see what is in my drawers. She sighed and looked into the dresser. Her eyes grew wide with happiness. The clothes in the drawers were her very own. Hey, you were the one who couldn't take the fact that I found this picture, Alan said smugly. Helen came out of her room in shorts and a t-shirt, her mind on what Greg had said the night before. She saw the dark hallway that she thought could be the way to Troy's room. It was too spooky to her to brave now. So the picture? I don't remember what's on the picture. I actually think I cut that out in the final draft. But if I had to guess, I would say it was a picture of Brian's family? I don't know. Give it back! The roar was getting worse, and you could see Brian starting to change into a werewolf. Alan, whatever it is you have, I think you should give it back or apologize for what you did, Helen said. No way! This is too much fun, Alan said. Come and get it, Brian. Helen didn't know what to do. She couldn't run past them, and the dark corridor before her seemed scary and dangerous. Her eyes grew wide as Brian changed into a werewolf. Helen screamed and ran straight into the darkness. Before she was too far away, she saw the two men begin to fight. Thud! She ran into a door. Ow. She stood up, rubbing her sore nose and butt. I like how it's spelled sore. That butt and nose can really fly, I can tell you that much. I really should learn to watch where I'm going. She then remembered where she was. I bet vampires sleep in the daytime, she whispered, and began to walk down the dark corridor. The place creeped her out. I wonder how he sleeps through all that arguing. I bet Alan makes everyone's lives difficult here. I wonder why. But why did that one guy get so upset about some picture? That was scary. I hope he didn't follow me down here. Imagine meeting him in a dark alley. Helen shivered. Okay, less dark thoughts and more happier thoughts. All of a sudden, Helen's heart ached. She went down on her knees and cried, leaning against a wall. She sat there crying into her knees. Why? Why did you do that to me? I don't understand, she cried. She's remembering her boyfriend cheating on her, in case anyone's wondering what the heck just happened. Music started to play. Huh? Helen looked up. She followed the sound. I don't think this is a good idea. The music was playing from an open door. She stepped inside and found it was an old ballroom. Wow, she gasped. She walked over to a music box in the middle of the room where it had emitted the sounds Helen had heard. You sure are a loud one, she said to the music box. The door creaked shut. Helen jumped and turned to see a girl standing before her. You know, little girls shouldn't be playing around in a vampire's home. You could get hurt, the girl said, walking over to Helen. Oh, if Troy found you in here, he would be very upset, especially if you're holding that in your hands. She pointed at the box in Helen's hands. Helen noticed a dark figure move nearby. The girl didn't even look. She was too busy enjoying herself. I didn't know. I was running from Brian. What was I supposed to do? Get mauled by a werewolf? Get mauled by a werewolf? Or enter Troy's part of the house? Helen explained slowly, putting down the music box. By the way, where do you live here? The girl laughed. In your nightmares? She moved to punch Helen, but the dark figure moved in the way. What do you want here, cat? Troy asked, eyes glaring. He was grouchy from being woken up in the middle of the day. No wonder no one came down here. He was scary angry. Not that he wasn't scary already. Well, hello, big boy. I just came for a visit, Kat said. I guess that means I have to go. Nice meeting you, newbie. What type of hunter are you, anyways? Hunter? Helen asked. Humph. I'm amazed you brought someone here like her, Kat snapped. I did not want another human here. Troy closed his eyes with those words. He then opened them and snapped. Now get out! Kat began to rub her hand on Troy's face. Helen's cheeks began to burn. I don't think you'll have to worry about that pest around here. I'll take care of it, Troy. Oh, and Helen, tell Brian I said hi. Toodles! She then disappeared. Troy stood there stiff. Helen didn't know what to say. She turned to leave. Why are you here? Troy asked. Helen froze and began to shake. I'm sorry, I was running from Brian and Alan, and I had nowhere else to go besides my room, and at the time, I didn't think that about to run into my room. I didn't mean to wake you up, and I wanted to thank you for protecting me last night. I guess I owe you one. You now, huh? She said, watching both her index fingers poke each other. Yeah. In case you're wondering, that is an anime reference. You don't owe me anything. Troy walked away. Helen turned and looked at where his figure had stood. I promise I won't invade your space again. Well, I'll at least try not to. She walked out, now to avoid Damien and Alan and not letting the others know about my times alone with Troy. Listen to me one night and I talk about them like I've known them forever. Helen chuckled and ran through the darkness, unaware of Troy's watchful eyes. Alright, well, that's it for Chapter 1. Tomorrow I'll share the introduction of Not a Dream. So it's not going to match up with this one, but I look forward to sharing it anyway. Have a good night. See you next time.